Okay, today we are playing a game on King's Row. We were in the Platinum SR range, and we'll be playing Reinhardt the entire way through. And our current team composition is Reinhardt, D.Va, Genji, McCree, Ana, and Zenyatta. So, really fucking boring, and there's nothing to say about it. So let's just start the game. So we've got to attack King's Row first, which can sometimes be very arduous. We did just chuck Fire Strike just at Genji. Genji's pretty likely to deflect it back at you, so maybe hold off on that one. Also, we just kind of want to chuck it through as many people as possible to get as much ult charge as possible. So I'm not a fan of going down this center path to get to the objective right here. Come on, let's get a better view. There we go. So I personally like to go around the right-hand side of the statue instead, because I don't like going through this narrow little channel of death, pretty much, staring down the entire enemy team the whole way. Because they've got just like this nice little like funnel that you're all going through, so if they got AoE damage, that's great for them. Your DPS can't actually see onto the objective properly because this wall is here until you basically get on top of the objective as well. And if you're going this way, it makes it easier for the enemy team to go like through this doorway and like poke and prod at your backline. And if you go in and like leave Ana back here, they've got a very short path to go through to get to them. I like to go around the right-hand side of the statue, because you can get through the choke point and like sit behind the shield, sit behind the statue rather, and let your shield regenerate a little bit, which is nice. And then you can just march right at them. Either way, it amounts to just marching at the enemy team eventually. But your DPS have a much better line of sight going this way because they can see basically the whole objective the entire time. They've got this little health kit inside the statue to support them if they need it. If they're going to do anything like this, they've got a lot further to go to get to your backline, which makes it easier for them to get punished. And you're not going through such a narrow little channel to get at them. You've got a much bigger space as well. In the end, it all amounts to walking at the enemy team, but that angle I just find to be much more appealing than through this one right here. So, there Reinhardt, he's coming up way too aggressively, but he is going to get away with it, which is very unfortunate. Sometimes life be like that, though. So, this is a very bad time to charge. Because when you charge, you want your charge to be as short as possible, right? Because the longer the charge is, the more damage you're going to take going in, the longer the enemy team have to react to you, so get out of the way or crowd control you, and the further away from your team you're going to get, the longer the charge is. So we really don't want that to happen. We want the charge to be as short as possible. Basically, like, you just want, like, I'm right here, man's right there, just pin him right into the wall right next to us, and then I'm still next to my team. I killed that motherfucker. He had a way shorter window to react to it. All good times. You don't want to long charges. You want nice short charges. But also, we've got 109 health right now, so we're super likely to die right now. We don't die, because there's no justice in the world sometimes, honestly. We get away with everything. Hey, you don't get punished, you don't have to learn, right? Soldier was behind us, but he's dead now, so don't have to worry about it. Here comes their Reinhardt again. Our shield's getting really low at this point. Zarya was not allowed to do that. And, don't bother. Just take the shield down right now. We could just let it be regenerating right now, because all we were really blocking right there was just Zenyatta, which is not all that exciting. Ooh, AFK DPS just shattered 3k. Apparently he's gotten an upgrade. Maybe he'll get to 4k one day. One whole extra k. So their Reinhardt's come really far up. We try to pin the man. This is, again, a pretty far pin, and, like, honestly, that guy performed such an illegal maneuver. Like, he ran in so far ahead of his team that we shouldn't need to charge to kill this guy. We could just save it instead. So here, we're about to commit a very big no-no and let our shield break. We don't want to ever let the shield break. We're going to let the shield break again later, and the next time it breaks, we're going to get really punished for it. But you don't want to ever let the shield break, because then it goes on a 5-second cooldown where you just don't have access to the shield. You want to always have access to your shield, because it doesn't matter if the shield's got 1 hit point, that'll still block an entire D.Va explosion, it'll still block Earth Shatter. Like, you want to always have access to the shield. Don't let the shield break. That's pretty much the biggest social faux pas Reinhardt can make. So, I don't want to hold the shield up right now, because the shield's still really low health, but we are blocking for Deadeye, so I guess it's fair enough. I suppose. Because the thing is, if we follow the logic that we don't want to ever let our shield break... Take it down. Let it regenerate. If we follow the logic we don't want to ever let our shield break, that means we're going to take it down before it gets to 0 health, right? Where before it risks breaking, which is going to be like 200-ish health, right? So if we put our shield up at 1,000 health, that means it only really has 800 health, because we don't want to let it break. We're not going to use the full 1,000, right? So we want to let it regenerate up to, like, a decent amount of hit points in between things happening. Like, we don't need to have it up right now. It could just be regenerating during this whole time, basically, because we aren't really blocking anything. I mean, like, you don't need to let it regenerate up to, like, full hit points every time or anything like that, but let it regenerate to, like, a decent amount. Because Reinhardt's, and I was this way as well, it's very hard. You want to have the shield up as much as possible. The goal is really to have the shield up as little as possible. But you feel like you gotta, right? You're, like, sitting out of the way, letting it regenerate, but, like, you see the bullets coming around the wall, you see your team, like, trying to shoot the bad men, and you're like, I gotta go and block for them. I'm obligated to come and block for them because I'm the tank. So you go out there with, like, an 800 health shield, and then you're out there for 2 seconds, and you have to take it back down again, because at 800 health, it's a Winston shield, basically. So you don't want to let it break, so it's actually 600 health shield, right? And you just gotta let it regenerate up to, like, a decent amount. It doesn't need to be full hit points every time or anything like that, but, like, you know, 1,500 health-ish, somewhere in that region. Like, a decent amount of hit points so you don't have to just, like, immediately take it back down again or risk it breaking. So, we've captured that objective. That's great. All good stuff. So, here comes the bad one. Because, oh no, our shield just broke in front of the enemy Reinhardt. So the Reinhardt now goes, this is going to be one easy Earth Shatter. And it was, in fact, one easy Earth Shatter. We still couldn't put it up for another 1 second, so that's another risk of letting your shield break. If in front of the enemy Reinhardt, he'll go, oh, nice! Free real estate. So things are looking pretty grim for us, but McCree's actually killing a lot of the bad men right now. He's actually killed, like, most of their team. He's dead now, but he did kill a lot of the bad men. Honestly, this Earth Shatter is pretty tempting right here, because it's gonna get at least Zarya and Mercy, and I think Soldier's still just barely in range. And that's their entire remaining team right there. Yeah, so our team's still regrouping behind us right now, but, like, honestly, like, we push back once, 5 seconds, they're here. Fuck, man. That's a pretty tempting Earth Shatter. I would have probably gone for it, just to, like, make sure I kill the Mercy, basically, and then, like, I won't die, because the only ones left at that point are Zarya and Soldier, and I can be backing up into my team. I would have been pretty tempted to go for that Earth Shatter, but I'm a very aggressive player at the same time. I do like to go and hit the bad men. So their Reinhardt appears to have changed to Hammond, which is fantastic news for us, honestly, because that makes it so much easier to land Earth Shatter. They do have a Baguette, so that's, you know, it can be a little scary because she might stun you, but so they did just grab just to stop Dragon Blade right there. So, like, if we're gonna Earth Shatter, I'd Earth Shatter now to try and keep the Genji alive while he's in the Graviton. Like, instead, we use it right afterwards, and, like, unfortunately, we only actually end up hitting one person, because Zarya blocks the others, which is unfortunate, but like, if we were gonna use it, I would have already used it by that point. Though, to be honest with you, it wasn't looking particularly juicy even before the Graviton ended, so might have been better in that situation just to save it. Genji also, it also looked like we might hit Genji, but he had double jumped, so he was actually too high to get hit by the Earth Shatter at the time, which is also unfortunate. Let the shield break again. No, I'm over the shield bar. Oh, God! What professionalism we have around here. Nope, don't move that part of the thing, please, thank you. Oh, God, I've been over the shield counter the entire time. It's okay, there's one in the middle of the screen as well, but that was very dreadful and very sad. So just like that self-destruct that just got chucked in there as well, which ended up doing a lot of nothing, actually. So, unfortunately, we're getting bumped around a lot, which is just very annoying. There's a attack visor was happening behind us, so we turned around to try and block that. But then, unfortunately, also, Dragon Blade happens, and all we can really do now is just take it down and try and hit the Genji, but he dashed off somewhere, left us behind, killed our whole backline. And then we get killed. That's fair enough. Half our team's dead at that point. We're pretty fucked. It's fine. Honestly, even if we don't capture the last checkpoint, whatever. We got it to like 1 meter away. That's good enough as far as I'm concerned. Because honestly, I find it's pretty rare to do like for because I have this theory, which I have no evidence to prove other than anecdotal evidence, because I don't have stats or anything. I can't access the Blizzard servers and look at the stats. But I would wager the team that defends first is the most likely to lose, by at least a small amount, by like maybe 1% or 2. Because it can feel a lot worse when you're defending, right? Like, if you do well on defense, it basically means they didn't do a full circuit, right? They didn't get to the end of the track. But that means that you spent a long time defending a lot, usually. Unless you, like, full held them, right? You spent a long time defending, which is very tiring. And people just get tilted if, like, you don't full hold them, right? Like, how many times have you been playing a payload map and that you've lost the first checkpoint and then somebody's gone, well, it's all over now, trash DPS, ba-ba-ba, switch off Mercy to Genji, you know, the usual affair, right? So I hypothesize that the team that defends first is most likely to lose, just because they are more likely to tilt than the first attacking team. But I have no evidence to prove that. So if I'm attacking first and I get to basically the end of the track, I'm going to count that as a win, just because of that, pretty much. So she's got Graviton again, which is very unfortunate. We took a little while to put the shield up, which is not ideal, but once you're in the Graviton, I mean, you're pretty fucked. Like, you're not super likely to survive, so whatever. She used Grav, no big deal. We've got a lot of ultimates to use right now. We've almost got 5, because McCree's most of the way to having Deadeye as well, so we got a lot of ults. We're trying to arrange to combo with D.Va. Genji's going in 5 miles ahead of everybody else. Oh god, ooh, very scary. This costs a lot of shield to do this, so I'm not exactly excited about this, because like this costs our entire shield to get through this, when we could just like fire strike through the middle and just cleave a chunk out of them and then like hit new ones on the way through and then save our shield for like going in right here. Because god, was that an expensive block right there. And then we could just fire strike and that clears it all out, or at least it clears the chunk out. So we let our shield break again because it got really low from pushing through the minefield. Don't recommend doing that. Reinhardt's just, like, okay enough at clearing the minefield by, like, with his hammer and his fire strike that you don't need to worry about it. Fun fact also, Earth Shatter will clear the minefield. I'm not saying, like, you see the minefield in front of you, Earth Shatter the minefield, but if, like, the enemy team are in the minefield and you Earth Shatter, you're gonna clear out the minefield at the same time, so don't let the minefield dissuade you from using Earth Shatter if you see an opportunity to do so, because it's done. It'll do it. So we've Earth Shattered just Hammond and Baguette, that's her name. There we go. That's definitely her real name. It takes us a little while to kill the Baguette, and unfortunately Hammond's back up again before we can actually pin him. And you know, yeah, I'd rather kill Bridget. I was thinking about, like, would I rather prioritize the Hammond over the Bridget? No, I'd rather kill the Bridget. So it's fair enough. So we're running after Zarya right now. She's tethered to by Mercy, which makes it very difficult for us to kill her. We're in the Graviton again. Zarya's doing a good job of building Grav quickly. McCree started using Deadeye and Hammond went on him, so it was a little bit scary, but Zenyatta was using Trance, so it was not actually as scary as it looked. They've got that side on lockdown. Yeah, I want to look over at the other side instead, you know, the side that most of my team isn't gathering up on, and see if I can stop somebody coming out the other side. Turns out Genji was coming out the other side, so we could have, like, met him as he was coming out instead of, like, reacting to him. But either way, it doesn't matter. We captured the checkpoint. Good stuff. All good times. So, as we can see, look at this. More anecdotal evidence to prove my facts, because our man, Shatter3K, fun fact, we had a Genji. And then everybody on our team's like, he ulted and killed us a couple times. Yeah, he wasn't that bad. But then, and I'm well aware he killed me plenty, but Shatter3K, he isn't having it. He wasn't useful either. So, you know. Well, to us, he did seem useful. But no. Shatter3K, what exactly did you do again? We can't really say that. That was the Zarya. She got to use Grav a lot of times, so that's not a very good return burn right there. But Shatter3K, he's already tilted. He's not gonna hear about it. It's all over for him now. See, look at that. Look at all that evidence I've got for you right there. Isn't that incredible? I also like how when the enemy team shit-talks someone on their team, I always like when the enemy team is like, who are you exactly? What did you do now? That's always very fun. The insta-pick Genji in def and isn't that good. You can pick Genji on defense, there's nothing wrong with that, but people still cling to that one. See, everybody's gathering around, your DPS were good. Nope, Shatter3K's tilted. It's over now. He isn't listening to anybody. That's always very fun to me, though, when people go in the old chat like, look at this guy on our team, isn't he trash? Man. Everybody goes, no, you're the bad one, actually. That guy's carrying you. And half the time it isn't actually true, but we all just want to make fun of the toxic guy, don't we? We all just want to see, we all see the angry man, and we just want him to be angrier still. Also, if you see people on the other team fighting, here's a little tip for you. If you see people on the enemy team fighting, just pick a side and agree with them. And the reason for that is you'll make the other side really fucking angry. Whichever side you didn't agree with just got a little bit angrier, and therefore a little bit more tilted, and thereby you've increased your chances of winning. So if you see shit brewing on the other team, do take a side. Just agree with one of them. Just like, yeah, you're right. That guy is bad, isn't he? Ha ha. No, you're wrong. You're actually the bad one. Oh, ha 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 ha. And then one of them's angry. One of them's angry at that point. Because that's the whole reason they're shouting in the all chat. They're looking for validation. So as soon as you deny them that, they're angrier. They're angrier. And thereby, you're more likely to win. Because the team who tilts first is the one that loses in basically all team-based multiplayer games, pretty much. But particularly in Overwatch, where our community is especially delicate. So this was a very optimistic charge because he's standing in this doorway right now. So it's very easy for him to get out of the way of this charge right now. So it's just very optimistic. We have also left our team behind for this one because, like, yeah, he's behind us, you know, that's not great, whatever. But, like, the Reinhardt that's behind us by a few dozen miles, whatever. You know, I'll let him do that for a little bit. I'm more concerned about, like, what the rest of his team is doing behind us still. Because if we go and do this, all that really means is both teams are fighting 5v5 without their main tanks, and that can very easily not be to your benefit. So this, like, took us out of the fight for a really long time to do this. We're back now, and D.Va died while we were away, but that's basically the only person we lost, so it's not the end of the world. But you'll see that our team did end up conceding a lot of ground, because now we come back out here, and the rest of our teams retreated backwards, except for Mei, who is still out here fighting on the objective. So we come back out here, rejoin the fight, but we're in the middle of the remaining 5 members of the enemy team, and our team is having to catch back up again. So, us, like, removing ourselves from the fight, nobody died. Well, D.Va died, which is tragic, yes, unfortunate indeed, but we ended up conceding ground and, like, losing a lot of pressure by removing ourselves from the fight for that long, because the enemy team just got to shoot at our team for free. And, like, yeah, the enemy Reinhardt behind us is unfortunate, but, like, we've got members on our team who can deal with that, but, like, our job really is the front line, so we don't want to remove ourselves from it if we don't have to. If he, like, comes up behind us and starts swinging into our team, then alright, I'll turn around and start smacking that guy. But if he just charges into the doorway behind us, whatever, let him do that for a minute while I just, like, look over there still. So it's the same, basically the same train of logic I use where I'm like, it is not the main tank's job to go and deal with a flanker. You know, that's the off-tank's job, or like the DPS's job to go deal with that, really. Not the main tank, because your job's the front line. So, this is a very unfortunate situation we ended up finding ourselves in. We let our shield break right there. Were we that close to death? No, we could take it down by this point. We're pretty much around the corner at, like, half health. That's good enough. So, we use Earth Shatter right here, and I'm not excited to do so, because this is a Nanoblade Genji right in front of our face right now. So, I'd rather try and Earth Shatter that guy, to be honest with you. Because I already see in the kill feed, the two of them are dead over there. Did anybody else die? Is it just them? It's just them that's dead. Okay. But two people on their team are dead over there. Like, that Earth Shatter, I can see now the only person in that, like, will hit with this is Zarya. And, like, Zarya doesn't look like she's going to get a lot done over there. So I'd rather try and Earth Shatter the Nanoblade. Even if we end up missing him, like, which would be unfortunate, it's still, I think, more important to try stopping that than just earth-shattering the Zarya in the, like, through the Graviton. So, anyway, we won the fight regardless. They lost too many people too early on in the fight, so it's all fine in the end. So, yep, I was about to say, this Reinhardt's got Earth Shatter, because we haven't seen him use it, and we're a few minutes into the game at this point, so he's got it. But he used it before I got to talk about that. So, we didn't manage to block it, because we ended up in kind of a weird spot. So just because we got hit, like, while we were jumping, basically. And we were sort of going forward. We were, like, moving forward as well. Like, right there, our #1 priority's got to be, like, blocking Earth Shatter, because we know the guy's got it. He hasn't used it this entire time after a couple fights. Like, the guy's got it, right? We used ours, like, you can just kind of assume baseline as Reinhardt if you've got Earth Shatter. The other guy probably also has Earth Shatter, because both Reinhardts usually build them up kind of at the same time, the first time round. And then, you know, depending on who Earth Shatters first, it can get skewed at that point. But you'll usually build up the first Earth Shatters at the same time. So, first Earth Shatter of the round, we had ours, he's probably got his. Our priority needs to be blocking that, because that's our job as Reinhardt, blocking Earth Shatter. Shatter 3k, yep, look, see, look how upset that man is. It's all because he was defending first. He had the Genji on defense. See, if he was on attack and that guy picked Genji, he wouldn't have been as tilted about the Genji pick. Now, granted, they lose the round, he's still gonna go looking for excuses and probably lands on the Genji, but he'd be less tilted, right? Because then at least he's picking Genji on attack, which is okay. Oh, play with bots, though. Oh, no. Oh, tragic. God, the Overwatch community is so shitty. It's very depressing to me that the League of Legends community is less toxic than the Overwatch community. Don't put the shield up right now. We've got to let it regenerate. It's way too low to actually do anything with. Even now, like, there's nothing to put it up for right now, because that's just Reinhardt, right? Like, nothing's coming at us right now, so there's no reason to put it up again right now. This guy doesn't have Earth Shatter again yet, so, like, we don't need to have it up right now. Just, oh, look at that man. Look at that man complaining over there. Have a great game, everyone, but I won't play with silvers. Okay, alright. Man, these pro players are so toxic, aren't they? So, anyway, I was just gonna say, here's, like, the thing you want to keep in mind with a Reinhardt and, like, shield efficiency, basically. The goal with the holding your shield up is you're blocking meaningful damage from hitting your teammates, right? Not you, your teammates. Because a lot of Reinhardts will just be holding their shield up to block for themselves. You don't need to do that, because you know what you can do instead if you need to block for yourself? There's this wall here that you can just stand behind, and then, hey, that's like an infinite health shield, right? The goal is to block for your team and give them, like, an uncontested line of sight, right? It's not just a block damage for you. Sometimes you need to just come out and stand on the objective, in which case you'll want to hold up for yourself, but we're not really in that kind of situation right now, because they aren't actually getting through the doorway yet. Your man's about to try, but, like, we don't need to hold the shield up just yet, because just Reinhardt walking up to us, we can just stand behind this wall and start smacking him as he comes up to it. We don't need to put it up yet. The goal is to block damage going at your teammates, but you also want to be blocking meaningful damage that's coming at your teammates. Because what I'll also see very commonly is, imagine we're on Anubis' second checkpoint, right? We're defending, we're standing on the objective. Reinhardt players will just hold their shield up against, like, the diva on the other end of the bridge that's, like, shooting at us with, like, her machine guns and the rockets, right? From the other side of the bridge, because they're regrouping right now. And the Reinhardt will just hold the shield up against that diva. The diva's doing no damage. It's trash chip damage that's going to do nothing to our team, but you holding your shield up to her is giving her something to shoot at, and your shield isn't regenerating while you have it up as well. So you want to be blocking actually important damage, like meaningful amounts of damage that's aimed at your teammates. That's the goal. It's not just to, like, hold it up to block for yourself, right? Or just block any damage. This is what I said earlier. People are like, we gotta have it up as much as possible. The goal is actually to have it up as little as possible. Because that's the whole thing with shield efficiency. Like, we could have just had it down this entire time. Because if we go back, shield's regenerating right now. We put it up at 900 health. Almost 1,000 health we put it up at right here. So, if it was still ticking, because, like, when we'd want to put it back up again is, like, maybe around now-ish. Because now they're starting to actually group up and throw some damage in here. And I mean, Sombra rather jumps behind us and emps us. Like, life is difficult that way sometimes. We actually could have seen this coming as well. Because right there, Translocator just flew over our head. I'll go back again in case you missed it. Just look at the top of Reinhardt's shield. There goes Translocator. So we actually could have seen this coming as well, and taken our shield down, because I also just heard her teleport behind us, which means Emp's coming right now. So we could have saved our shield at least. But if we were letting it regenerate the whole time it could have been regenerating, there would have been basically up to full health again by the time we would consider putting it back up again. By the time we would consider needing to put it back up again. Because that's the thing, right, is when you put it up when you don't need to, like, it stops regenerating. And it could have been, then by the time you actually need to put it up, it could have maybe been full again. So he just used his Earth Shatter, we immediately Earth Shattered right back at him again. It is a little risky to just immediately throw it back at him. Because, like, he does that, right, and then, yeah, the temptation is just immediately throw one right back at him. But if he sees, because this is, right, so we have to think about what the other Reinhardt thinks, right? So, he should wait and see if his Earth Shatter lands before he tries to do anything, right? Because a lot of people will also just see it land and then immediately charge, or, like, they'll use Earth Shatter rather and then just immediately charge before seeing if it hit anybody, which can get you killed. So, like, he should wait and see if it connects before he does anything. So, if he sees it didn't connect to anything, the correct play for him is immediately put shield back up again, because we, the person that just saw him whiff, is now, like, counter Earth Shatter. So, this is how it all ties together, right? You gotta think about, like, he sees us, he sees his misses, he'll think, oh, now we're gonna try and counter Earth Shatter, so I have to block that and immediately put shield back up again. So, it's pretty risky to, like, see he whiffed his Earth Shatter and then just immediately chuck yours at him again. Because the correct response for him should be immediately put shield back up again. And we were aiming at two people that weren't quite in line of sight to his shield anyway, but Moira manages to fade away. But just something to think about. with Reinhardt in general is if he whiffs, the correct play for him is immediately put shield back up again. So try and see if he's gonna overcommit to the whiffed Earth Shatter first, which you can tell because if he's just gonna commit, like if he Earth Shatters and then just immediately pushes charge, you can tell, like he'll start charging and then you can just react to that instead of the Earth Shatter. So there, Shatter 3K, our man's left the game because he's just so very salty right now. So 6v5, things are looking pretty good for us, I'd say. I'd say things are going to go overall fairly well for us from this point because it's pretty hard to win 5v6. It happens, though very, very rarely. I think I've probably seen like 2 or 3 5v6s get one over like all the time I've played Overwatch, which is many, many hours. So, oh, we got Moira. That's more or less good enough, honestly, at that point. I was gonna say, it was unfortunate, because we were trying to get Reaper as well, but Reaper died, and we hit Moira, so, yeah, whatever, fine, it's fine. We don't need to agonize too much over it from this point, really, do we? Like, be honest. Take the shield down. Oh, took it down at 6 health. That's very close to peak efficiency. If we're the most efficient robot in the world, right, we'd always take it down at 1 hit point. Please don't try to take your shield down at 1 hit point every time. That was a joke. That was a joke. So please don't aim for that. So yeah, we've pretty much won. So we'll just, we'll go over what stood out the most this game instead now, which I usually save till the end of the game, but the game's pretty much over at this point, isn't it? So basically, we're not great with shield management. We let it break multiple times. We only really got, like, punished for it the one time. Oh, he's trying so hard. We only really got punished for it the one time, but like, it's something that can be punished so badly by so many things. You just don't want to ever let it happen. You always want to have access to your shield. And we're not good at efficiency overall. Like, we put it up when we don't need to have it up. We feel obligated to put it up, so we put it up at, like, low amounts of hit points, which just leads to us constantly going out with a very low shield and it breaking shortly afterwards, which is also not ideal. We go for some very bold charge. Ooh, well, it worked. We go for some very bold charges as well. This wasn't as much of an issue as like the shield efficiency was, but like we went for some very not okay charges. The very first one was by far the most egregious one, but the other charges I was also not very excited about. For other reasons. Oh, look, Shatter 3K's back. Yeah, report that man. Report that man! Yeah, bad battle tag. Gameplay sabotage, that's the one. We can see play of the games happening behind there as well. Oh yeah, that'll probably be it, won't it? Good times, good times. So we're immediately going into Ultimate Board Games Chess, apparently. What we got? We got the Metal Gear Rising OST. Fucking fantastic original soundtrack. Very good, highly recommend. Do follow Game Grumps. Do also follow Maximilian Dude. Very good times. Mostly fighting games content, but also other stuff as well. Very entertaining man. Recommend. This is, like, I've watched Dark Souls videos, so honestly, fair enough. I follow this man. Gameplay news. I do follow Nerd Slayer. The Death of the Game series is very interesting. It's expanded a little bit more outwards now, but it's basically a series of videos about the deaths of various MMOs and, like, what started it, how it happened, the timeline of, like, when the game launched through to its death. So it's very interesting. Some of the videos are quite long, but then there's also stuff like, it was just MMOs, but now it's other stuff as well. So like, Boss Key Productions was in there, Telltale Games was in there, Nosgoth was in there, which wasn't an MMO, but was a multiplayer game. So it's expanded a little bit out from MMOs, because there's only so many MMOs, right? But very interesting series, highly recommend. down the rabbit hole. Very interesting series of documentaries about a variety of things, because this is the worst video game ever, Dockside Phil, but there's also, like, Temple OS, there's one on furries, what was that mouse experiment called? There's one about the mouse experiment, the Final Fantasy house, which is, Christ, also very interesting series, recommend, and I follow both these people as well. So good job, YouTube algorithm, you've actually figured it out mostly, like, this is all good stuff, great job. So we've already talked about the thing that stood out the most in this game, so we're pretty much done now. So thank you very much for watching if you did. Oh, hold on, before we go. I am going to live stream on Twitch on Saturday, 7 p.m. EST. And I asked people on the Discord server what game, and Overwatch won, shockingly enough. So we're going to play Overwatch on live stream Saturday, 7 p.m. EST. I'll link the Twitch channel in the description. Come have a good time, maybe. So thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. More than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord server and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. If for some reason you enjoyed the video and managed to make it all this way through, please like the video and subscribe for more content of middling quality in the future, and I hope you found the video helpful.